Hey, what's up YouTube? Thanks for watching Digging Deep. Back in the saw shop today. Back here we have the chainsaw dyno. Today's video, we're going to get this thing out and play with it a little more, give you guys a more full-length experience. I know I've had some shorts come out. We got two of the pull-ins we've had on the dyno back here. I tried to make a previous video and some of the clips didn't work out, and alongside that the dyno was giving us problems. But yeah, we got the pull-in 3750, a 5 horsepower saw on my dyno. It's nailed 5 horsepower pretty consistently, and then we got the smaller predecessor here, the 3450, 54cc, and 60cc. This is like a 3.5 horsepower saw, but I want to get that back on the dyno for you guys because I was having a little bit of issues with my dyno when I was running that one. I had some tweakish issues once I got up above about 4 horsepower. The 3750 is a noticeably difference in power to that. Both of them have exhaust mods, different style exhaust mods, but yeah, this is noticeably more power and it shows it on the dyno. And basically what we got back here is the old Neotec 2500 rated at 1.2 horsepower. We are right in the ballpark at 0.9 horsepower on this little turd. We're going to see what we can do today with advancing the timing and maybe doing an exhaust mod. We're going to run it a couple times stock, but there she is, the makeshift Inertia dyno, just kind of throwing together parts. I'll go over that real quick and get yourself an Ardyno on Amazon, very cheap. You just got to program them, write the software to it. It's not that bad of a process. It was for me because I'm not really a computer wizard or anything like that, especially on the electronics stuff. I'm a kind of jack of all trades, but the electronic stuff is kind of way over my head. But anyhow, yeah, so you can get one of those boards. I'm getting an Ardyno board from Two Stroke Stuffing. He designed the boards. I got one coming in. I got to solder the components. I'll put links in the description. If you guys are really interested, get in there and watch some of these videos. There's another guy, JS Racing, and just putting Inertia dyno out not long ago, and I learned a lot from that video too. So yeah, I'll drop links in the description. Check them out, guys. Here's a look. It's just a 17.5 Briggs Briggs flywheel on there. It is a cut Briggs camshaft that slid right over the 1/2-inch axle perfectly. And basically so the camshaft slides on, the camshaft cut piece sticks out, and I welded a clutch bell on there where I could put a sprocket. It would be nice to get a little bit bigger sprocket. I've been looking into that as well. I think that's only a 10-2, so that gets this sucker up to about 5,000 RPMs, which is a little fast. If I got a bigger sprocket, that would slow this thing down a little bit. And so I think we'll look into that. But everything is functioning now. I had some trouble with running those 2 green pull-ins back there, and I learned a lot after pulling this thing out. This thing was tweaking. I thought it was just too much power and I needed to reinforce stuff. I was scratching my head and I'm like, man, that should hold 4 horsepower. Long story short, I got back in there and looked where I just tacked a bunch of stuff because it being on the wood, I didn't want to do full welds and end up catching something on fire. Well, a lot of the welds had cracks in it, and I thought, well, that's what it's doing. So the thing was tweaking, hopping chains and stuff, having issues, and now it's working flawlessly and putting out accurate results. Can it be more accurate? I know it could be. And when I get the Ardyno board put on here, it's just added to that microchip, and it will make this thing, I think, a lot better. Without further ado, that's a little talk on the chainsaw dyno. Maybe I'll make another video of fully how I built this. It was just kind of thrown together with steel I had laying around here, and we're finally getting this thing working. Let's get into it, guys. Alright guys, I don't know if you can see that very well. This is simple dyno software modified to how I like to run it. You can change colors and do all that in the software. For free software, it is really not too bad. However, it is very quirky. It will just crash every now and then. Sometimes you'll have trouble with the hall sensor and USB connectivity, and it'll just straight up boot out and you have to reboot the program. And usually once I get past the first couple glitches, it works flawlessly, guys. So I think everything's good still from last night. This thing was I couldn't believe that those welds were cracked, and I was running that thing. I'm like, wow, the thing could have just blown apart on me. We don't have our shield. I'm going to go out and look for some material really soon to authenticate a shield. I would like to fully block the flywheel here, and where I possibly will have our rotor area for braking, because as you know, once you get that sucker rolling, the flywheel back here rolling, it takes a little bit of time, and the dyno results do not stop until the dyno stops. That's kind of how it works. But we're gonna warm this saw up, guys, do a couple power runs here and see if we still get within the 0.8, 0.9 horsepower range. I was leaning the high-speed circuit out last night, so I'm going to bump that back a little bit. Although we are a little bit warmer right here, right now. I've been heating it pretty decent with the wood, so but the humidity is different. So each run, a lot of the software and stuff, you could get like weather data acquisition to go in there and make your adjustments per weather change and stuff like that. But just getting started, guys. Every dyno pool, I'm just going to put what temperatures we have once we go. We got 57 degrees and 30% humidity. All right, there's the old dyno graph there. Trying to get you guys on multiple views here. I apologize. I'm doing my best to up my game. So we had a couple little spikes through here. That's not bad. Like when this thing was inaccurate and going crazy. Now a lot of this little stuff, I'm gonna get rid of that with the AR Dyno chip we put into this microprocessor, and I'm almost sure that that's gonna make this thing really fantastic. All right, guys, 0.856 horsepower here. Very accurate to what we were putting down last night. Right around the same. We got, let's see, we hit 4 at that. We were about 6,000 RPM under a load, and we put 1.13 foot-pounds of torque down. So there you go. We'll do another run for you guys. All right, let's get another pull in here. Got the same looking curve there. Doesn't look too bad. .22 horsepower. How accurate is that, guys? That's awesome. 8.22 horsepower. We're going to use these 2 runs, and I will keep the tune the same, and I'll see if we can't get in here, tear the saw off here, and see if we can't advance the timing on this and pull a little bit more power out of this thing, guys. Let's give it a shot. Now, I'll tell you guys, here's the thing with Inertia dynos. Little bonus clip for you guys. And anybody interested in trying to build their own dyno, whether it be some type of small engine dyno or what, you've got to have a general idea with the Inertia dyno of what your inertia should be. Like this little 1 horsepower saw, it, you know, if it's too hard to get the flywheel going, and maybe the inertia is a little too much, it'll be real hard on the clutches and take way too long to get your power curve. What's cool about inertia dynos, it's pretty neat to where it doesn't really matter as long as you get a decent long pull for giving you accurate horsepower numbers from my reading on the internet. So my point being is it might limit you on what power range you'll have with what size flywheel you have on Inertia dyno. Very accurate, but that's only the downfall, is you're gonna be like, I might do 1 horsepower to 6-7 horsepower saws on this thing, and that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna be able to do, you know, 15 horsepower race saw on here. Just no damn way. So just want to throw that out there. I think we're gonna make over 1 horsepower, guys. I think we can do it, Neotec. So I think I did say in one of my shorts that I'm going to plan to pour one of these and modify it. Obviously, we're doing some of that in today's video, and that's what I plan to do. Don't really use them anymore. My one ground guy that I have work for me every now and then, he runs these, but other than that, they don't get ran a whole lot. And why not modify one? You get the work done quicker, right, guys? I hope. We might pull it apart and port it. Since there's not many parts or anything for this thing, I'm not going to go too crazy with like pulling numbers and being really precise thinking. I know from my experience of porting, just to play it safe and probably still make power easily is just by taking a few thousandths and, you know, using my experience in my head. I'm not going to get crazy with pulling numbers on this cheap garbage saw. I say garbage, but it has made, it's made me, these started me out, and they've definitely made me some money. So you got to start somewhere, guys. Here's the exhaust on them. So maybe I should start out with just doing some exhaust mods. Let's mess with the timing. I really want to try to advance this timing, see if the saw likes it. It might already, the way it runs, I feel like it could be advanced just from my experience of running 2 strokes. But we'll see, guys. The dyno will prove it. Alright, guys. I'll tell you one thing I don't work on much, and I know they're a pain in the ass. Since I started doing small engine work here and there for people, I just don't work on these limbing saws, these top handles, but I know they're a pain in the ass. I think I have one still come into me since I started doing it. I've worked on them a few times, but I know they're pretty much headaches to work on in comparison to your other saws, that's for sure. Looks like this handle might have a bolt or something in there. I have to pop that off. This is my first time tearing into this, guys. So we'll be back once we get this cover off, guys, and hopefully we can get right in and pop this flywheel off. And we'll see if we either take some off the key, or I might just file down the flywheel, since that'll probably be easier and quicker to file. We'll be right back. Yeah, so you just got to pull your handle. There's a little grommet here, and you're right into the side of this thing. Here's a look, guys. I want to get in there and see if this is a clamshell or not here real quick, but this shouldn't be too bad to pop this flywheel off. We'll get in here and pop this off, and we'll be right back. Alright, as you can see, this is a clamshell design engine, and I apologize, guys, saying I wanted to port this, but now it's like clamshells just there's so much extra work, and with this being a Chinese piece of you know what, I think we might hit the brakes. Who knows, guys? But yeah, that turns me off big time. I'm sorry. I don't know if we will port one of these or not. Maybe. It just, I don't know if it's worth all the work and tear down and just the problems and nightmares I've had with Chinese saws. Jeez, it Pete's. All right, guys. So, obviously, you want to know which way it's spinning. I double check myself, but once you get used to it, so we're spinning counterclockwise, guys, and this goes on to the key. So you're going to spin the magneto. The magneto is spinning this way to pick up spark, right? So what we want to do is advance it. So we want to clock it that way. And maybe I'm backwards. I haven't done this in a while, but that's the simple way in my mind when I want to advance the timing. You want it to get to the pickup coil sooner rather than later. Later would be retarding the timing. Really not that hard if you think about it, guys. But we are going to, there's really not, sometimes factory flywheels have a little bit of wiggle in it. And you can kind of probably get a few degrees, but we're gonna get this flywheel out. Just wanted to explain that there. It's gonna be a little tricky filing that, but I have some really small files from when I was into locksmithing a little bit. And we're gonna get in here and file it. I might just go ahead and hit both sides, just a few thousandths, and that way we can retard it too, just to play around on a dyno. This is all I'm doing, guys, is a little tiny file, and I'm going to get in there. Kind of just working this thing in here, and we'll come back here once I get this file down good. It doesn't take a whole lot, guys, so don't go real crazy. But we're already starting to take some material off of that, so we're going to hit both sides. And we'll be back. Yeah, so I didn't get too crazy there, and look how much we're already able to clock this thing one way or the other. Kind of hard to see. Put that on a degree wheel. It's probably more than you think there. We'll go a little bit further. And how about that there? It's easy 7 degrees. I'm just going to take a little bit more out of it. That way, if it seems too far advanced, maybe we can just clock it back a little bit, play around. It's going to be a pain in the ass because this isn't easy to get in there and keep changing. That's what kind of sucks. We'll see what we can do. All right, we got it locked down. We clocked it hopefully the right way. We were hitting the pickup sooner. Counterclockwise, I believe, if I'm looking at that right. And a lot of times you got to be careful because you think you're advancing it. By the time you tighten that flywheel, hitting it with an impact, you know, it's trying to, the nut's going on clockwise, so it's going to try to drive that flywheel clockwise. So are you pulling the timing back? So what I like to do is find a spot to wedge something in there, clock it, hold it tight, and then zap down the nut real quick, and then you can kind of hope that the flywheel doesn't shift the other way. All right, guys, advanced timing pull. Hopefully we see some different numbers. Alright, the curve does not look bad. That's good. Guys, we did improve there. We almost hit 1 horsepower. So advancing the timing, it worked. We hit 0.998 horsepower. So close. Come on, baby. If we have to, I'll follow it down a little more so we can clock this thing a little harder. But we definitely made a little bit more power there. So we'll give it another shot, another pull, guys, and see what happens. All right, let's give this baby another pull. As you've seen, the advanced timing worked the last pull. Of a spike here, but that should be smoothed out in the software surely here, but everything looks good. Guys, when you have really horrible readings, that spike will go up and it'll be clean through the curve. This is as accurate as this thing has ever been, and it's pretty accurate. Could it be better? I think the Ardyno shield put onto this Arduino board is going to really make my results really clean. Alright guys, it looks like we're staying we hit about 9.6 there. So we just can't quite get the horsepower. We have seen improvements. I could take this thing and clock it a little more. But what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to sneak in here. And that's just, doesn't sound rich. Sometimes it's hard to tell with these chainsaws, especially on this dyno. Let's just pull that fuel back just a bump. Let's just see if we can see what it does there. Fuel back, pull, coming up, guys. All right, guys, we leaned out the fuel mixture. So let's see. Come on, guys, we want that 1 horsepower. Got it. Let's see, guys. Seems like it took a hair longer to get to the power band there. That might have hurt us from leaning it out. Maybe we'll bump it. Then we'll give it a little bit more fuel. Power curve looks good. And we hit 9.12, a hair bit lower. So let's get in here and add a little fuel, guys, and give it a good little bump here back. See what that does. All right, enriching the fuel circuit. We'll see what we get here, guys, and then I think I might just dive in and do an exhaust mod on this thing. is a beast. The Neo beast. Guys, we hit one, so we are running a little lean. We broke 1 horsepower. Yes! Gains, guys. Gains on the Neotec. I cracked myself up, guys. There you see the power curve. We made 1.03 horsepower at almost 5,000 RPMs at 1.33 foot-pounds of torque. Pretty good looking torque curves there. Not too bad, not too shabby. All right, guys. I'm gonna take it and leave it here since we hit up over 1 horsepower. We know that, right? We hit just over 1. Let's take this sucker and do an exhaust mod. All right, guys, here you have the old Neotec exhaust. She does appear to have some kind of like baffling in there. Sorry, guys, about the camera view. Trying to look at myself here. See if you guys can see that. It does. It's hard to get a view. It does have like a little baffle plate in there. I'm not gonna cut this thing in half today, but it is something to be noted that could be holding back a lot of the power. See if you guys can see that a little better. See that? I might be able to even knock some of that and rip it out of there and open that hole, but there's just like two ports there. Just like finger style ports. You know, I might be able to reach in there and at least cut that center bridge out of there and open it up, and we'll put a bigger outlet on it and call it lovely. See what it does on the, see how it responds to that on the dyno. The old Unibit, guys. She's done more exhaust mods than anything else. I gotta be careful. I don't want to go through the back. This thing is so small. That's already opened it up a good bit there. I had found these two. That would be huge, wouldn't it? My gosh, we might just do that. As long as I can get it tacked on there without burning this up. I need to get a setup for soldering and actually making an exhaust now and getting into custom exhaust. That's, you know, I plan to do so much with getting dynos going, and you know, you can sell yourself with being able to prove it, right? So it's one way I look at it, guys. I love two-stroke performance, and I've been wanting to get a dyno going, and alongside that, a motorcycle dyno for small bikes. You know, probably, you know, 125, maybe even a 250 being a max. Obviously, it ain't going to be no big 4-stroke 450 dyno, but it'll be for the smaller bikes, scooters, etc. That's what I plan on building. I'm very excited to do so, guys, and I just love two-stroke performance stuff. And I'll tinker with putting 4-stroke stuff on there too, on a bike dyno for sure. But all right, guys, make sure you get all them particles out. I'm thinking we're gonna go hog wild with this thing, guys. That'll sound awesome. Just have to cut that down. All right, guys, so I had a hell of a time trying to get that out of there. Those guts, that baffle plate. So I cut it about, I don't know, 90% there, pried it open, and got this out of here. Now, a lot of times when you do this, you'll have, from experience, you'll have to, if you don't put these spacers back in there, when you won't get the bolts tight enough, and they'll like to vibrate loose unless you use like a little bit of Loctite or something. Both of these pull-ins are that way, so it's what kind of sucks is you got to watch for the bolts backing out. So keeping these is a big help. So we're gonna weld this up, put this back together, and maybe try to get these in here. We'll see. But yeah, what's funny is, why in the heck they put a gasket on the inside of this thing? Like, what were they doing over there? It's just funny. Any event, wada bing, wada bam. What a crazy exhaust mod for this Neotec. This is funny. It's really funny. That's pretty much how it's gonna look. This is my other one. I'm sure we might have a little bit of melt on the plastic. There might be some air gap there on both sides. If not, we'll modify this one. Robert, if you see this video, this is going to be your modified solder run. All right, guys, so I didn't weld it all the way around. It's not going to be like 100% no leaks, but it should still do the trick for the most part. We'll see. We might have went too big. We hauled the guts out of it. It's a hollow can now. And look at the outlet on this thing. Hey guys, let's see what it does on the exhaust. I'll get this cleaned up a little bit. We're going to make sure all the debris is pulled out of here so we don't have anything chewing up the piston and cylinder. Oh boy, guys, have a look at her. Oh man, that's funny. Probably overkill on the outlet. We'll see what happens. I'm surprised that Neotec did have a baffle in there. Like a lot of their other saws come with hollow cans. So that's interesting that they did that. We'll see what it reflects on the dyno, guys. Let's get after it. All right, we're all set up for the exhaust mod. Obviously, it's going to need a little warmed up, guys. So the first pull might be a little down on power. We'll make a couple pulls, and definitely this thing is going to be need to be rejetted probably after that exhaust, especially it having the baffle in there. That's the fill we picked up on the front side. I felt like it anyhow. We'll see what kind of power we put down. We definitely felt at the throttle response we picked up on the front side a little bit. I'm sure you'll be able to see that once we put them all up here. 1.12 horsepower! Woo! Yeah! Woo! That's so funny, guys. But hey, we hit that at 46 at a peak and 1.54 foot-pounds, guys. Let me get you in here to take a look at this. Improvement. And that was without jetting this thing. It felt pretty good. It's weird that I didn't have to tune it. It may need to be tweaked just a little bit. We'll go a little bit more fuel and see what it puts down. 1.12 horsepower there, guys. That's awesome. All right, we're gonna do another attempt at a pull here. Ripped in the fuel circuit is off my tool. Alright guys, good looking curve here in the data collection. 1.21 horsepower with an enriching it with the exhaust mod. Guys, that's awesome, man. 1.21 horsepower. Have a look here. We definitely picked up a little bit from advancing the timing. Could have went further on the timing advance, I'm sure. And the exhaust mod was our main gain, guys. Hollowing out that can and putting a bigger outlet. We are now at what they say this is rated for, 1.21 horsepower. That's awesome, guys. We put down 1.58 foot-pounds. I think we definitely gained a little torque too. That's awesome, guys. Sweet. All right, guys, I think you guys can see that. This is just a graph of me putting the pulls. This down here was the first or second pull of the day. We started out at 8.22 horsepower. The first run, I think, was a little weaker than that. And then we decided to start playing with the timing. And right here, we got the 0.99 horsepower, right around 1 horsepower gain just from your timing advance, guys. As you can see, we gained a lot of front side. And I said that as soon as I started the dyno. A lot of things you can feel, you know, from running one saw to the next. That's what's also cool about a dyno. Like, even without all this computer jazz, you can feel power differences with different saws. And then we jumped up to 1.12 horsepower with putting the exhaust on non-tuned. And then we tuned it, which we could probably even pull a little bit more. We're right at the factory spec with doing some modifications to this thing. But ultimately, with enriching the high fuel circuit, changed the jetting a little bit, we got this thing up to 1.21 horsepower. We definitely gained torque. If you come clean down here, we gained a lot of torque gain here. It was only 1.05 foot-pounds, and we picked up to 1.58 foot-pounds. That is a noticeable difference, guys. I'm not brilliant at math, but you could just do those figures, figure out your percentages there of gains. But right here, just look. This is the stock saw, and here's where we ended up, guys. Guys, I hope you enjoy the content here. And, you know, it makes me very excited because I've put a ton of hours in this thing. And to see now the accuracy of this thing is just awesome. And I'm going to hone that in even better once I get that chip in the mail and soldered up. I got a bunch of components coming in to solder that up. The Ardyno chip by two-stroke stuffing. Again, that will be dropped in the description, guys. This is awesome. I'll try and post up this sheet right now. That way you guys can see it a lot more clearly than on camera. But we ended up starting out at 0.82 horsepower and ending up at 1.2 horsepower on this old girl. She's a lazy saw. I'm excited to cut with it now and see the differences. Maybe on another video we'll get the stock saw out and we'll rip them a little bit, see what it feels like from one to the other, because I got two of them. You know, that's awesome that when you can do stuff like that, guys. But for documentation purposes, I need to put this in my notes. We're doing this today right here at 29% humidity at 57 degrees. Hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. This stuff is what I love to do. I love two-stroke performance. I've loved two-strokes all my life. Even in the four-stroke performance stuff with small engines, it just makes my heart happy, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you're new to the channel, guys, help me out. If you want to see more stuff like this, subscribe down below. Give me a like for sure. Share this video and comment down below what you would like to see. I'm kind of eyeing up the Stihl 194T back here. I'd have to put the 3/8 sprocket on it. And I'm curious to, you know, I did an exhaust mod on that. Obviously, we can't get before and after numbers. But yeah, so I'd be curious. This dyno's coming in just a hair shy of what this rated horsepower is, which I don't mind. But I think it's generally pretty accurate, as we can see, guys. Thanks again, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.